Childhood trauma doesn't always look like violence or catastrophe. Sometimes it's the absence of what we needed most, to feel seen, safe, and accepted for who we were. Emotional neglect can be subtle. A parent too stressed, too depressed, or too distracted to notice our feelings. We might have been fed, clothed, even loved in their own way, but the deeper need to be understood and soothed went unmet. And so the child learns to hide their pain, to silence their anger, to perform instead of express. Here's the thing, children are brilliant survivors. When love felt uncertain, we adapted. We became the pleaser, the achiever, the invisible one, the tough one. We learned to numb feelings that overwhelmed us. We found ways to keep the bond, even if it meant cutting off parts of ourselves. These were intelligent choices. They helped us survive. But now, as adults, those same strategies misfire. The pleasing turns into people-pleasing that leaves us drained. The toughness hardens into isolation. The numbing becomes addiction. We find ourselves caught in loops, not because we are weak, but because the very tools that once saved us. And when we see it this way, not as a flaw, but as a story, it changes everything. We stop asking, what's wrong with me, and begin gently asking, what happened to me, and how did I learn to survive? In that question, there's space for compassion, for self-understanding, and for healing. Would you like me to flow directly into story 1? Attachment and relationships in the same voice so the transition feels seamless. She always joked that she had a type, tall, charming, successful man who seemed attentive at first but soon grew distant. Friends noticed the pattern before she did. They'd say, "Don't you see he's not really there for you?" But she brushed it off. "I don't need that much. I'm independent." Her evenings often told a different story. She'd cook dinner for 2, waiting for the text that he was running late at work. The food would grow cold, her chest tight, but when he finally arrived, tired, distracted, carrying the weight of some invisible world, she smiled, served his plate, and swallowed her disappointment. Later, she'd lie beside him, wide awake, listening to his steady breathing, feeling lonelier than if she'd been alone. This wasn't new. She remembered being 12 years old, waiting by the window for her father to come home. He worked long hours. When he finally walked through the door, she learned to read the set of his shoulders before speaking. If he looked heavy, she'd stay quiet. If he looked light, she'd make him laugh. Either way, she was careful not to need too much. Her mother, though present, was often anxious herself. Feelings in that house had nowhere to land. So as an adult, when she found herself drawn to men who withheld affection, it didn't feel like rejection. It felt familiar, almost safe. She knew the rules. Don't ask for too much. Don't cry too loudly. Don't expect someone to hold your hurt. Love in her nervous system was wired to mean yearning, reaching for someone just out of reach. From her story, 3 truths emerge. First, what we call preferences in partners often echo old attachment wounds. We gravitate toward what feels like home, even if it hurts. Second, when we grow up with emotional misattunement, our feelings not noticed, not mirrored, we learn to minimize our needs, and that script plays out later in intimacy. Third, the ache we feel in relationships isn't proof of being unworthy, but a signal that our body remembers how it once had to adapt. And here's the quiet possibility. If the body remembers, it can also relearn. The very patterns that kept her stuck might one day become the doorway to a different way of loving. One where closeness no longer feels like a threat. But that's something we'll return to. Would you like me to write story 4, addiction/compulsion as coping, next? in the same gentle, trauma-informed tone. On the outside, he looked like he had it all together. Always the first to arrive at work, sleeves rolled up, inbox cleared before most people had their first sip of coffee. Colleagues admired his drive, his sharpness, the way he never seemed to falter. What they didn't see was how, the moment the day ended, he would retreat into a blur. Hours scrolling through news feeds, pouring one drink then another, or losing himself in late-night emails that no one had asked him to answer. He told himself it was discipline, ambition, even curiosity. But beneath that, there was a silence he couldn't face. Nights when the house grew quiet, a dull restlessness spread through his chest. Memories would flicker. His father's sharp criticism, the feeling of being invisible at the dinner table, the weight of never being enough. He had no words for those old wounds, but his body carried them. The racing thoughts, the gnawing unease, the knot in his stomach. When he slowed down, they all rose up the moment he tried to rest. So he kept moving. Work was safer than stillness. Scrolling dulled the edge of loneliness. The glass of whiskey softened the ache, if only for an hour. From the outside, it looked like productivity, like control. Inside, it was survival. And here's where compassion matters. The question isn't why the addiction. The question is why the pain. His habits weren't signs of weakness or moral failure. They were solutions, crafted long ago to make life bearable when his inner world felt too overwhelming. The scrolling, the working, the drinking, these weren't random choices. They were his way of keeping unbearable feelings just out of reach. In this way, we don't shame the coping. We understand it. Because all of us, in one form or another, reach for something to ease the weight we carry. The issue isn't the substance or the screen, it's the wound beneath them, the part of us that learned we were safer numbing than feeling. So I'll leave you with two gentle questions, ones only you can answer. When I reach for distraction, what feeling am I trying not to feel? And what might that feeling be asking me to finally notice? Would you like me to move next into explaining implicit memory and the mind-body link, so it flows naturally from these stories? Think of your nervous system like a smoke alarm in your home. A smoke alarm is designed to keep you alive. It doesn't wait until the fire is raging before it goes off. The moment it detects even a trace of smoke, it screams. Sometimes, though, it's just burnt toast. No real danger, yet the alarm blares as if the house is on fire. Our bodies work the same way. When we go through overwhelming experiences early in life, those memories don't always settle into neat stories we can recall. Instead, they lodge in the body as what psychologists call implicit memory, memory without words. The body doesn't forget. It stores the tone of a voice, the clench of a jaw, the sense of danger in the air. And years later, even when the mind insists, "I'm fine," that's in the past. The body's smoke alarm may still go off. This is why you might find yourself suddenly anxious when someone raises their voice, even if they're not angry with you, or why your stomach knots before an important meeting, though no one has threatened you. From the outside, it may seem irrational, but through the lens of implicit memory, it makes perfect sense. Your body is trying to protect you from fires it once knew too well. The hopeful part is this: just as we can learn to tell the difference between burnt toast and real flames, we can begin to retrain our nervous system. Our bodies are not betraying us, they are reminding us of what once was, and with care and awareness, they can also learn what is true now. The alarm doesn't have to ring forever. Would you like me to now write the final section? Practical healing steps and a soft but empowering closing. so the whole talk feels complete and integrated. The first step is awareness, and it begins gently. Keep a small journal for 1 week. Each time you notice stress, tension, or shutting down, write down 3 things: what was happening, who you were with, and how your body felt. No need to analyze, just observe. This helps you see patterns that the mind alone often misses. When a trigger arises, you can practice compassionate inquiry by asking yourself 2 soft questions. What am I feeling right now? And when else in my life have I felt this way? You don't need perfect answers. The point is to connect today's reaction with older echoes, so the present feels less confusing. In the moment, give your body a pause. One simple practice is to place your feet on the ground. Take 1 slow breath and let your eyes notice 3 objects around you. This grounds your nervous system, signaling that you are here in the present, not back in the past. Choose 1 small boundary to practice this week. Maybe it's saying, I need 5 minutes before I answer that email, or I can't take this call right now. Boundaries protect your energy, and even tiny ones remind your body it has choice and safety. And reach for 1 safe connection. It might be a trusted friend, a support group, or a therapist. Healing doesn't happen in isolation. It happens when our nervous system feels another steady presence saying, you don't have to carry this alone. Each of these steps matters because they shift the story from being ruled by old alarms to slowly teaching your body a new way of relating to the present. Awareness brings clarity, inquiry brings understanding, grounding brings calm, boundaries bring safety, and connection brings repair. And please remember, if what surfaces feels overwhelming, it's wise to seek professional support. Healing is not a path we have to walk alone, and the right guidance can make the journey safer and more sustainable. Would you like me to now weave everything, stories, teachings, and steps into a flowing, full-length, till the 20-minute talk draft in this same voice? Both stories, the woman drawn to distant love and a man who numbed his pain, are really about roots buried deep in the past. Those roots cracked under pressure, twisting toward survival. But even through cracked roots, light can rise. Each time we notice a trigger, breathe into the moment, set 1 boundary, or reach for 1 safe hand, it's like letting a thin beam of light find its way into the soil. Change isn't fast. It doesn't need to be. Safety always comes first, and even the smallest shift, a pause, a journal note, a gentle note, is proof that new growth is possible. Tiny wins count because they are light breaking through, showing the body a future it has never known. If you've carried the weight of old patterns, I want you to hear this. Nothing in you is broken. What feels like weakness has always been an attempt to stay alive.